can get here. And just to let you guys know how this is going to work, we're going to get all the teams up in order, starting with chair. So Michael, if you get yourself ready. So you're going to present first, good. And the way it's going to work for everyone, you're going to have 3 minutes to do your presentation. I'm going to let you know when you have 30 seconds left. So if you see me talking to you, you know that you're near the end of your presentation. So don't get scared. I'm just telling you there's 30 seconds left. And I'll give you another warning when there's 10 seconds left in your presentation. If you're still going on, when your time is up, I will stand up and stop you. So again, don't think I'm being rude. I have to do it because it has to be fair for everyone. If there's more than one team running for a role, you will alternate your presentations with the other team being out of the room when you're doing your presentation. And then after you've done your presentations, we'll open the floor to questioning. While you guys are out of the room, we'll come up with the questions. You'll come back in and then we'll ask you the questions. Again, if there's multiple teams, we'll go one team answering, then the other team, and then switch over for the second question. So then the other team answers and then back to you. Okay, anybody have any questions before we start? Stephen? They still kind of have to be general questions. Okay, so yeah, that's if anyone wants to ask questions, questions should only be general questions. You can't ask specific questions about people's manifesto points. They have to be general questions which could apply to anyone running for the role. So just bear that in mind. So I might have to say that question's not appropriate. Or Ange when she gets here. Any other questions? Anybody got any queries? No? Good. So let's get started with Michael.
When can I go?
You can go now.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. So I'm running for chair. This is a very, very short presentation, although a lot of thought went into it. So this is the Constitution copy and pasted, is what I'm supposed to be doing next year if elected. It's basically all to do with, for those of you that don't know what chair does, it's what Nathan just beautifully did there. They chair the meetings of Exec, Council and Senate, and then any AGMs and EGMs and things like that as well. So it's all about controlling the meeting, making it run smoothly, stuff like that. So why me? So I've been on Exec for 3 years. I did charities in my second year, heritage in my third, and trustee this year. So I've sat in quite a number of Exec meetings and trustee board and council meetings as well. So I'm pretty familiar with how they run. I don't know the Constitution back to front. It's 113 pages. Nobody does. It's ridiculous. But I will read on the stuff that I have to read on when I need to. As I said already, they can drag on. For those of you that have been in Exec meetings, they can drag on. They can be incredibly boring. So if I can make them a bit more interesting, then I will. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, yeah. So I don't think that's that busy. Great, perfect. So should have plenty of time to do this. Question? No, wait. So questions that, have I got time?
No, you will do questions for you once you're out.
Okay, I'll ask 2 questions to myself because they always get asked. How are you going to remain impartial? I won't say things that I'm thinking. And, and how are you going to manage your time? Should be fine. Great, I'll leave the room.
Okay, we'll properly shut the door. Okay, so questions for Michael. Anybody got anything they want to ask? I know he answered a couple of them himself. Kat?
What made you want to be chair?
You happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Good. Noise? Yes, Ruth?
The role of chair is quite a sort of somber role, trying to keep meetings in order. How do you foresee you coping with this duty?
You happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Good. Anybody else got any questions? Anything from Twitter or anything like that? No? Okay, let's go and get him back in. Yeah, we've got Twitter as well, so if you're on your phones and stuff like that, let people know that they can ask questions on Twitter if they're watching on the live stream, advanced stuff. Okay, welcome back, Michael.
Thank you.
So we've got 2 questions for you, the first of which is going to come from Kat.
Hi there, Kat. How are you doing there? Great.
Michael, I was wondering, what was it that made you want to be chair?
Just had this, overwhelming, burning passion for controlling people. And that's about it. No, it's quite, I've been on exec for a few years. I know how it runs. I enjoy being on exec. It's good fun. And I didn't want to do any of the others because they're rubbish. No, it's fun. That's all right.
And your second question comes from Ruth.
Hi.
So chair is quite a somber role, trying to keep meetings and all that. How do you foresee you dealing with this sort of responsibility?
As in that it can be somber?
As in not making a joke out of everything.
Oh, everything. Ooh, good question. Well, I just won't make jokes. I think exec meetings should be more fun than they have been because they can be boring, and that's what in my thing is that I think probably one of the reasons meetings aren't so well attended is because they can be boring and long. So if I shorten them and use jokes well placed, then it might be okay. I think when it's serious, it'll be serious. Just I've been on exec for 3 years. I've been to meetings for 3 years. I know when I have to stop. Sometimes.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
So that's our first one done. Yes, I forgot to say when I just did the introduction, for questions, you'll have a minute to answer the question. I'll give you 10-second warning that your minute is coming to an end as well. Okay, so if we can move on to societies officers. So Anya, Karis, Alex and Joe, please.
Way too big.
Yeah, it's massive.
I want a trick.
Jesus.
I'm doing it. My face is way too big. Huh? Okay, fine. Fine. Just start? Okay, hi, I'm Anya. I'm Alex.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Karis. And we're running for societies officers this year. So first of all, our aims. So one of the main roles of being a societies officer is the music room. So our first point is to try to get the CCTV that's already installed to be looked at by security, so that prevents like damage to instruments and all that sort of thing. Second is to make locker rental in the music room online, so that it's just easy and accessible to everyone. And third is to try and get a decibel meter installed, so that obviously, like when you're playing the drums and things, you're not really that aware of how loud you're being. So having a decibel meter so that makes people aware of how loud they are, and so there will be like a limit as to how what the max is.
The next thing is handover. Sometimes handover can get a bit messy, forms get lost and committees, you don't really know who's in it, who to send emails to and stuff. So we thought of creating Google Docs for us and the top 4 to make it easier and more accessible. And another thing we're thinking about doing is putting handover forms, trying to make them online so that committee members can do them online, everything's all online and gets all put through faster and easier.
Awesome. The Freshers Fair, because I got lost a lot at the Freshers Fair. We're going to try and make that simple and straightforward for the freshers. And we're just going to put links to the websites and Facebook pages in the booklet you get.
And also we think about integrating socials, so doing an inter-circle event where it's kind of like a speed dating between the society and sports teams, maybe a couple of weeks after freshers, while circles are still hot. Also doing a mixed sports ball with societies as well. This has been done in previous years and was quite successful, so we're thinking of maybe bringing that back by working with the sports officers to try and do that again.
Okay, what we think our qualities are that can contribute well to being societies officers. Between the 4 of us, we have a lot of experience working on student councils and leadership teams. So that involves putting on events, teamwork, and I think it'll just be, obviously, is the most helpful sort of thing that we can have.
Oh yeah, we're organised and proactive, which obviously a key role. instead of being on exec.
We also have a very close relationship between the four of us, so we know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we're going to be able to push each other and nag each other to get things done.
Yeah, we're active members of George's. I think. Involved in farming socks and involved in a sports team. Thank you for listening.
Okay, questions? Yes, Corey.
How do you plan to improve the communication between the different societies and between the student union?
You happy to ask that? Ruth?
Freshers Fair is obviously a big event. Do you have any experience organising big events like this?
Happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your name, sorry?
Khadija.
Khadija.
The freshers ball that we tried to organise this year didn't go through because not enough people attended. What are your ideas of trying to get a lot of people at a large capacity to go to balls that
It's a bit specific for their, but you can ask,
what's your idea of campaigning?
how are you going to ensure that events have a good turnout or a good attendance, something like that? You happy to ask that? Good. Boone?
How do you intend to celebrate and promote the achievements of various sectors of society?
Good. Kat?
Got two questions. First one was, it's a very time-efficient role. Do they feel they'll be able to stay dedicated to the role? The second one was, it's been a constant battle for the last couple of years, trying to govern the entry and use of the music room. How will they tackle this?
Happy to ask both of those?
Yes.
A lot of hands up still. I think we'll cap it at maybe 7 questions. So probably Stephen next, I think.
And to make freshers fair and efficient, there's lots of queuing time, lots standing around, hopefully speed up the process.
And what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe one more. Shash?
Parts of their plan that require funding, require money, in essence, what they thought about regarding funding.
Don't say for the parts of their plan, but just say in general, any events that. Yeah. Okay, good. Are you happy to ask that yourself, Shash? This is socks, yeah. Well, there's plenty of questions. So.
Why are we capping questions?
Because there is a time limit. We can't be here till 12 o'clock tonight. So you can ask them if you'll see them around individually. You can ask them questions that you specifically have individually to them. We're not going to be here having 20 questions to one single team. Okay? What do you want to ask?
I was just going to say, would you consider using a more secure system than Google?
It's a bit specific for them.
Okay, fuck it then.
We've got 8 questions for them. So.
It's fine then.
Come on in, guys. Okay, so we have 8 questions for you.
8.
Wow. It's going to come from Corey.
So my question is, how do you plan to improve the communication between different societies and between the student union?
Okay, I think that comes down to making things online and stuff. So, and having like things like having the links in Freshers Handbook as well. So everyone is just more active and more aware of what's going on with different people. So obviously going to like council meetings and stuff is also really important. So hopefully we'll all like, if not all 4 of us can be there, at least like 1 or 2 of us like will be at every council meeting so that everyone's aware of what's going on between different societies, and then bring that back to the SU.
Our second question comes from Ruth.
Hi guys. So Freshers Fair is a really big event. How do you have any experience of organising big events like these?
Yeah, pretty much all of us have got experience working on our school councils or in like the top 4 of our school. So that was organising things like the ball and leavers hoodies. So we've all had experience dealing with big events and things that are important. So I think we'd all be good at it.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Khadija.
Yeah, how are you guys going to ensure that you get a good turnout coming to school, like lots of people coming to your events?
Lots of advertisement on like Facebook pages and stuff like that. I don't know if that's our job, but
Yeah, well, it's obviously Freshers Fair, it's going to be really busy anyway. You know, people are going to come, but make sure there's things maybe posted onto the pages, the new Fresher pages beforehand, so everyone knows where it is and what's going on. So sort of like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Matt.
How do you intend to promote and celebrate the achievements of St. George's various societies?
Well, I think that all comes down to awards evening, really. Like at the end of the year, when obviously that's when that's our event, our main event that we put on. So that is when everyone gets the chance to do that. So just making sure that's a massive event, making sure that's really advertised, get loads of people there. Yeah.
Thank you. We've got 2 questions now coming from Kat.
Hi guys.
Hiya.
First question is, as I'm sure you're aware, society's officer is a very time-consuming role. Do you guys feel that you'll be able to allocate the time to be able to best serve the society's officers?
Oh no, yeah. Yes. Well, obviously we're going to second year biomed, so we still have quite a lot of free time. Be able to. There's 4 of us doing the job as well, so there'll always be someone there every meeting, as Anya said, and we're living together next year as well, so we're able to nag each other to do different things.
Thank you very much. The second question is, for the last few years, it's been kind of like an ongoing battle, both the tech offices and the society's offices, to try and govern the entry and the use of the music room. How will you guys tackle this?
Well, I think it comes down to, as we said, like trying to make sure that the CCTV is used, because obviously getting CCTV installed is the expensive part, and that's already been done. It's just getting it watched, so getting it observed by security. And so that's like one of our main aims, is to get that done, because that's like key to keeping the music room in check.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Stephen.
Hi guys. So participating is quite a cumbersome process. Things take quite a while. How do you intend to make the whole process more efficient? Is that kind of standing around and
So we've talked to previous officers, and they've said about not making a map too complicated, try and keep that simple. So obviously we'll keep everything sort of grouped into sports and then societies, and then making sure the map is quite simple so everyone can sort of follow it, and trying to keep as organised as we can. We're all organised people, so hopefully we can make it organised
and efficient.
Lovely. Now we have Shashank.
Hi guys. With regards to funding, what have you thought about for next year for what you need?
I think.
So if I clarify,
Yeah.
Obviously, some of the things will be money tight in the SU, and the funding is required to put on events and implement manifesto points. So have you thought where the money's going to come from?
Well, obviously, I think we're quite good at budgeting. So when if we've been given a budget for a certain event, I think between the 4 of us, we are very good at knowing what's important, what needs to get spent on, and what doesn't. And if we run low on cash, we're definitely all for trying to find ways to fundraise and get the money. And I think that's just something that we'd have to tackle when the time comes. But yeah, just budgeting whatever we're given, I think is sort of anything we can do.
And the last question is from Twitter. So this one was, have we spoken to the previous societies officers about the role and kind of get a more understanding of the role?
Yeah, we spoke to Fran.
Yeah, we spent a good half an hour with Fran, and she told us everything that we should expect, so we sort of know what we're getting ourselves into, and we know how what we have to do and the time it's going to take, and we've taken it all into consideration while we're in the position.
Yeah.
So
it's not just this year's spin. We also know people who were on the team the year before as well. So we've got loads of insight into it.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to that. So now we're going to move on to sports. So we've got 2 teams running for this. So if I can get Imogen and Edward to do their presentation first, while Manit and James step outside. Female, what have you done? Female, what have you done?
Oh, well, I'll go around the side.
We'll just sort this out. I think Female may have.
Female sent us here yesterday.
I think Female may have screwed something up, but anyway. Female, what have you done? Do you have it on an email or a memory stick?
Yeah, I can get it on my email.
Yeah. Sorry, is it your uni email?
Yeah. Do I just go on?
Okay, that won't
Is that
work
going
on
to be an
here.
issue?
Because I can only go to my uni email.
Sorry?
These are the problem with the login, the single login.
Okay.
Is it on anything else? So anyway, try the uni email, see if you can do it that way, but I'm pretty sure it won't work.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, I've just had a couple of technical issues with the presentation. Blame it all on DMAL, but we're gonna get it sorted quite quickly.
How do I get onto that email?
Outlook.sgul.ac.uk.
Correct.
So it might just load up straight up with mine.
Yeah.
So, and then if you log off,
Where's that?
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Let me click on my phone. There we go, sign out. Oh, no, it's right at the bottom. One right at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, the other way, let's see if we can do it.
Did you email it to him when you were free?
Yeah, can you email it to me from your phone?
Oh yeah. Can I get it? Yeah.
Then you can just forward it on. And I'll see if I can get another way to get.
Yeah, it would be smart to back this up. Oh, bad.
No, that's another way to do it as well. I shouldn't have closed that out.
Sorry about this.
Oh, what is it? That's good. Oh, stupid.
Do you want to make the others go first, and then we while I'm with?
Yeah, that's probably easiest. Are you okay
Should
switching
we
over?
switch? Yeah.
Okay, so because of the technical issues, we're sorting it out, but we're going to have the other team go first, and then they're going to go second. It is all email's fault, so if you see it around.
Is it working or?
It's the screen.
Yeah, press it to the left as well. Press the, you can start.
All right. Hi, so my name's James. This is
I'm Monique. Yeah. And so we want to run for sports officers 2015-2016. So we've not got a lot of time, so we thought we'd just run you through our manifesto today, just about what we stand for and what we'd like to do next year. So the one thing we thought about university level sport is that it should be inclusive and fun. And one of the main things we'd like to do is to try and ensure that all clubs do follow this, are quite inclusive, and challenge some of the stereotypes surrounding certain sports and like certain players and things like that. And we feel that as sports officers, we've been the perfect role to do this. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, we want to work alongside the captains of all the different sports clubs, the big and the small groups, and basically ensure that all leagues are entered correctly. Because last year there was some problems with some league entries and some sports, and this was with women's football, as you know, at this. So yeah, we definitely want to work with the captains a lot, make sure the leagues are good.
Another thing we want to do is really promote some of the smaller clubs. So there's clubs like basketball, swimming, badminton. We don't really hear a lot about them unless we've got friends who play in those clubs. And so we think it'd be really nice to advertise these, make them like big clubs that would definitely attract more people, particularly like from freshers and things. Because as a small uni, we do have a lot on offer. It's just a lot of things are forgotten when you think about all just the main sports. So that's something we definitely want to advertise.
Yeah, and sort of tying on from that, we're looking at, in terms of resources, the main thing is minibus allocation, and we definitely want, because at the moment it's more the larger clubs get sort of a more dominant role in the minibus allocation, so we want to make sort of a rota system so small clubs can have a guaranteed place with a minibus if they need it.
The other thing we'd like to do is create a central hub, both online, hopefully on the new SU website, and on a board outside the SU office, just to advertise like club results, upcoming matches, where they currently are in the leagues, just so more students in the student body know what sports teams are up to. And we think it'd be quite good. Also, probably encourage more support at like match finals and things.
Yep, and then to the freshers leaflet, it's already pretty good, but we just want to make it basically more comprehensive. So we could have like, this will tie in with a central hub thing, like leagues that the clubs are in, and just some more information, basically. Oh yeah, and the sports ball. So this sports ball this year was wicked, had a great time, but we want to make, like this year, we want to make it a bit bigger. I know the society's officers mentioned about doing something like that, which would be good, making it bigger. And we just want to include more smaller clubs and possibly, like you're saying, non-sporting. people who aren't the sports clubs.
Cool. And our final point is that we'd actually like to have a link with charities officers and societies to organise some charitable sports events. And this is mainly from my personal experience. So this year I was treasurer for Revive, which is a new charitable society, and we tried to organise a sports day. However, we found it really hard to coordinate all the teams. So we think a sports officers would be really good because we'd be able to coordinate them better.
Brilliant. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, if you have any questions.
Okay. Did I manage to do it?
I didn't know your email. So.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we should have given you that.
And then questions. They get
Yeah,
questions
so
now, or
no.
we do our
So you do your presentation, then the questions
Yeah.
get given more, but after both of you have presented.
So we're both in the room when they ask this question.
Yeah. So you get asked questions, and it alternates between the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get my stuff.
Just the first slide, isn't it? It's just-
Start when you want.
Hi there, my name's Edward and this is Imo. And yeah, obviously you can see us on there representing rugby and netball. Big screen doesn't do good things for you. We understand what a challenging role sports officer is, but just being freshers, we've heard this year's been one of the greatest years yet for sports. We've had rugby going to win the first Bucks Cup in the last 7 years. Football winning the same night as well. UH women getting top of their league final. I could go on. And that's why we really want to capitalise on this and keep developing sports within George's. And yeah, and Emma's going to talk about the manifesto.
Yeah, so this is us representing our clubs. Yeah, so one of our main priorities is to get new clubs to get going and to give them the support they need. So to do that, we'd like to help them get facilities, help them to find coaches, help allocate some funding to them, and also help them advertise and sort of promote themselves. So ideas that have been proposed are like Ultimate Frisbee, Running Club. What was the other one? It was quite big.
Running Club, lacrosse.
Yeah, lacrosse, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so we'd like to give more publicity to major events. So I know that the people in the Bucks final, in the rugby boys, they said that all the support was really, really good and like really helped them a lot. But there wasn't, there weren't as many people there as there could have been. So we'd like to sort of publicise them more, like on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, and also help give like transport so people can get there. I know that puts a lot of people off. So yeah, we can make more support at events, so then we'll do better. Fresher trials, we want to make them advertise more, make people aware of it. We'd like all of the sport teams to sort of write a bit about them and get that put in the fresher information pack before people come to uni. And we were thinking maybe going to halls and talking to all of the freshers there in the first couple of days, just to tell them about where everything's happening, when everything is, and get everyone aware of everything. More into team sports. So with netball, we played against the hockey girls this year, and that was really, really good fun. So we'd like to do that sort of maybe like rugby, football, that kind of thing. Just just if all the teams, like if there's everyone, we'd learn from each other as well. We'd like to work closely with the SU to think about external sponsorship, because I know we need a lot more money to do some of our plans. So yeah, we'd like to talk to get some more sponsorship. The Roblo obviously needs some work, and that would be where a lot of, if we did get sponsorship, it would go to that, quite a lot of the money. Sports ball last year, it was so much fun. So this year it was this year it was so much fun. So hopefully to do another one of those and make it even bigger and better.
There you go, thank you.
Keep everyone outside, keep the other guys outside as well, and we'll go with some questions and get you back in when they're ready. Okay, let's wait for the door to close. Yeah, Mustafa.
I'm going to ask, how can they encourage new clubs to form without taking on all the responsibility of that club themselves? Because
Yep. Okay. You have to ask that? Is he? Okay.
So sports officer is a demanding role. How do you plan on coping with this throughout the year, particularly if you're placed away from your handbooks? How do you plan on remaining unbiased towards sports clubs, especially budget allocations, whilst continuing to pay for it? And have you talked to any previous sports officers to ensure you understand the role completely?
Okay. You happy to ask all those yourself? We might intersperse them with other questions, just so they're not all coming from you straight away. But Tash?
There are sometimes drinking stigma associated with some sports teams. How do you plan to reduce that and make sports enjoyable?
You happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Cool. Chris?
I've got two.
You got two.
What do you think the hardest part of being sports officer will be? Even me. And then have you looked at what external opportunities there are from funding from national budgets?
Cool. You have to ask both those? If we go on here, sorry, what's your name? Rebecca.
Have you had any roles in sports teams before that could help you with your role as sports exec?
How many questions now? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because there's 2 teams, we can have a couple more. So let's go. Haroon?
So 2 questions. How are you planning to promote the less popular sports or the smaller sports? And if you could, what changes would you make to the Rob Lau?
Okay. And then Stephen?
So very cool behind the bigger and better sports ball. How they intend to fund this bigger and better sports ball considering the financial difficulties we're in.
Cool. It's quite a few questions. Do we have to have yours, Kat? What are your 2? Because this is going to be.
I think one is kind of financing, which maybe Stephen's kind of. One was how they both talked about how they want to help support new clubs or smaller talks. How will they ensure fair distribution of facilities between all the sports teams? The other one was some sports teams like to, talk about how other sports teams get given a bigger budget from the SU than them. How will they ensure fair distribution of budgets to all the clubs equally?
They're both quite good questions, so I think. And from Twitter? You have to ask those, Kat? Yep. Haroon, you happy to ask yours, yeah? Yeah, Tash?
As you know, SGL doesn't have its own sports ground. Though it did in the past, how would you investigate this?
Cool, that's a lot of questions for them, but because there are 2 teams, I feel like it's. Okay, so if we start with Denise and James first, so you answer the first question first, and then Emma and Edwards, you answer the second question first, and then alternate. And I'll try and remember who did it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So our first question comes from this one.
hey guys, how can you encourage new club formation without taking on the responsibility of that club on yourselves?
So what we are thinking, so like during freshers and stuff, I think it's really good because there's a lot of people that do want to start new clubs. They just never have I don't think they have the support or they have anywhere to really turn to. So if we advertise ourselves as the people to come to, obviously we don't want to be taking on responsibility for every single new club. But if we advertise ourselves, at least they have someone that can come and speak to, we can definitely help them set it up and then obviously ensure that they are capable of running a successful club. So I think we'll definitely be advertise ourselves as people to talk to. And
just providing them with the full information of how to set up a society if that's what they want to do, just give them all the information.
Yeah, similar to that. It's just guidance. You need a team, where you're going to play, dates, times. It's a lot to consider. So the person coming to us would obviously be in charge of the whole thing, and we would just offer guidance to them.
So sports officer is a demanding role. How do you plan on coping with this throughout the year, particularly for placed away from campus?
So we're second years next year, so that will be quite good for us because we're going to be here based at uni. So I think we're both quite good at time managing. So hopefully we'll be able to keep up to date with everything. Because there are 2 of us, it would mean that if one of us wasn't there, we'd be able to go in the other one's place.
I'm a big time freak, so I'm 5 minutes early to everything.
So yeah, for us, so we will be going to tier, and we understand like the placement. We could be placed Wyke George's, but we're both quite fortunate in that we live literally like a minute away, and I think we're both quite committed, and we are very good with time management, very committed to getting jobs done. So if we know that we have to do things, we will get them done on time. So I don't think it'll be a problem if we're placed locally.
How do you plan on remaining unbiased towards sports clubs, especially about budget allocations, whilst continuing to play for one?
I think it's just transparency. We just need to be like, look at like what the clubs need, how big they are, how many people it's going to help, and then allocate from that rather than like anything to do with like personally. You just got to take yourself out of it, like just to you with like a club. It makes no difference. You just got to look at it from a completely
I think we have to look
way.
at it from a third person perspective, like not really think about the fact that okay, that's our club. You have to just look at it as like, oh, that is just our club. So.
Yeah, we've made sure that we've got like quite close connections with each of the sports clubs. Like we know someone in each of them who's quite senior in the teams well. So hopefully we'd be able to get like a lot of their opinions put forward to us, so we'd have a proper understanding of what they need, and that would help us like allocate the money correctly.
Yeah, that's better than I was thinking.
And have you talked to any previous sports officers to ensure you understand the role completely?
We've spoken to you.
I've spoken to May like good length about this, about the pros, the cons. Do you want to actually do it? All those things. So that's why we understand what the challenging role is. The admin going back and forth sometimes, how to set up the system and play to sort of teams once it's someone doesn't show up, and then points deductions, etc.
Yeah, and we obviously know you and Matty well, so we'll be able to keep that going. If we needed any help, we could ask you a question.
Well, we actually haven't spoken to you these, but definitely like in the near future we could speak to you or Matt. Like that would be helpful.
So like we've been part of sports clubs, we do know like how kind of teams work and everything, but unfortunately, so we applied during the reopen nominations, so it's very last minute. But we have read through roles of sports officer, and we feel like we can manage these and do them well because we've got experience doing similar things from like our uni and things like that. So we will speak to you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Tash.
So there is sometimes a drinking stigma associated with some sports teams. How do you plan on reducing the stigma and making sports more interesting?
So that's quite like a big thing that was particularly in women's football as well. So this year we had I think one of the first times we had one of our social sets who didn't drink. So we thought this would be quite a good way of like bringing in fresh and stuff without the stigma of having to drink. I think this is something that can definitely roll that throughout all the clubs, and we should encourage them that even if people don't drink, it shouldn't exclude you from circles, because like this year we found that despite that we do have non-drinking people, like they can still come to circles, they can still have a great time. It's just like making the effort with them and encouraging them to turn up, as opposed to going, oh, it's in the bar, like it's going to be alcohol, you should come along. It's team bonding as opposed to being about the alcohol. So I think that's definitely something we could roll out.
Yeah, we could speak to captains and then sort of emphasise the fact that like it's really important to get people involved who don't drink, because obviously they make up a large part of our university as well. So
yeah, to be honest, that was one of the bigger issues I found when I went to uni. I wasn't going to play sports until I thought too much drinking like that. Even joining rugby as well, so especially I thought, oh, maybe not. But definitely, I didn't feel that at all, to be honest. There's circles with, like, we don't have to drink alcohol at circles at all. It's not about that. It's about playing games. It's about talking about afterwards. So one of our ideas is going to halls, and so they can come up and ask us questions, and we'd really emphasise that point along. Like, circles isn't just about drinking. It's just about coming together as a team, talking just after the matches, so you're talking about the sport you play. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'd like to encourage the teams to do other things, like potentially other than circles, so maybe at different places, like go out for a meal and stuff, because that's all really good team building as well.
Okay, thank you. I've got two questions now from Chris.
What do you think is the hardest part about being sports officer?
I would feel the admin side is a lot of going back and forth between the teams, but someone has to do that job. You have to sort out the dates, probably miscommunication. It's about nagging the people, making sure times and places, because if you mess any of them up, you're going to have a whole team getting angry, like, whose fault is this? So that would be probably the main thing, just keeping on top of the admin.
Yeah, I think just like sorting out issues could be quite difficult, but yeah, hopefully if we stay on top of it, we'll just try and be as efficient as we can so there aren't any problems.
I think that resource allocation probably would be one of the hardest points, because it's going to be like, you have to obviously more resources to maybe the much larger clubs, but you've got to include everyone, and everyone's got to get like the correct amount of stuff, and you've got to be completely unbiased about it, which is obviously going to be a big task.
And I think this will be like a lot harder, particularly because we obviously play for clubs and we know people in certain clubs who will be getting to the point where they're like captains and stuff like that. So they'll be like, oh, don't you want to give us this, that, and the other. But I think it's probably like liaising with the captains and like allocating resources will be quite a bit of a challenge.
And your second question, have you looked at what external funding options there are in terms of funding from national bodies?
We've kind of considered, I think we've like thought about that's probably a good way to get more resources, but we've not actually looked into it too much. But it's definitely something that we'd consider looking into if we were elected, because it would be a good way to get some more money to do more things.
For sponsorship, I haven't seen national body wise, but I know that locally wise. Back at my old club, each member used to get a big pack, and then they would go around to the local restaurants or local clubs, and they would hand them out. They would give them to like the alumni beforehand that have got their own business. It's about using the connections because it's going to benefit everyone in the club. So they're going to want to do that because then they're going to get more equipment, they're going to get better resources. It's about incentive, and it's also about the community. Like you get discounts when you go to restaurants because you're a St. George's student. Like they're proud to have you there at the store. So it would be the same with sponsorship.
Yeah, we're really, really keen on this. So yeah, we definitely make this quite a priority for us, and we work with the SU a lot. Yeah.
Our next question comes from Rebecca.
Hi. Have you held any positions in the sports team before? That would be a good experience for being a sports officer.
Yeah, back at club level, I was captain for a few years in the World School. So I know about training, getting people to training, sorting out pitches, where to play, referees, coaches, etc., etc. Really.
Yeah, I've been a captain of a sports team before and stuff, and just like held other positions of responsibility. So hope to use that.
I've captained for several different basketball teams last couple of years, which involves like similar things to this. And I've also a social sec this year for rowing, and that involved like organising like 50 people and loads of money, drunk people as well, which makes it worse. So yeah.
So yeah, no, I've played in sports teams quite a lot, and I refereed quite a bit when I was at secondary school, for like netball and things. And since starting uni, I've been the treasurer for another society, which isn't a sports one, but it's always a good practice for managing money and stuff. So yeah.
We've got 2 questions from Marie.
There you go. So how are you planning to promote the less popular sporting events or sports societies?
I think the main way we're looking at getting like in contact with them before Freshers Fair and getting the booklet, like just getting them definitely in there, like a comprehensive explanation of what the sport is, like the leagues that they're in and stuff like that, so that when the freshers come, they're fully have all the information like ready right there.
I think also because we would like to set up a central hub, they'd also have a main part on that as well. Just so people don't see them as smaller sports that people aren't interested in. People see them as equally important as like football, rugby, rowing, and stuff like that. So we think it's definitely a way that we can help them.
I think just to get equal representation. So I know that at Freshers Fair there should be like all of the teams should be represented equally. There shouldn't be anything bigger for one particular team. And we had a similar idea with doing the booklet beforehand. We'd like all of the teams in there with the same amount for each team written. Just generally like more publicity, more awareness, more advertising of all of them, in particular small ones. We definitely like to encourage smaller teams. So.
Yeah, and just early on, make sure they're actually serious about starting a new club. They're not just being like, yeah, I want to play frisbee on the common. If you actually want to form an actual club, be serious about it.
Yeah, like proper commitment.
Second question: if you could, what changes would you make to the role now?
So we've found with netball, the floor is a really, really big issue. It's not very good condition, so that would be a priority. Also, just getting more equipment in the gym, like more machines.
Also, just about the timetabling of the rubber load. So we don't really know who's training when or where. So if there was a set system where we know every night this person's going for this time, this person's going for this time. I don't know if that's really around, to be honest, but I haven't heard of it. It is. Yeah. Well, at least we should. Yeah, Matty didn't know that. Oh, you did rubber. Okay. So I'll do that. With the free weights area, it gets quite busy, quite compact. I've heard rumours about it closing down as well, which I like to address. Yeah, I'd probably address them rumours as well and just.
Yeah, I mean, with the Rob Law, one of the biggest issues is spacing. I mean, there is a lot of time like available for sports teams, because I know like basketball, and they're like a fairly small sport, have like a huge amount of time there because it's just free like on the nights. There's no one else that wants to do it. So I think the main thing with the Rob Law probably I would change is that I would have more space for the weights and stuff. I wouldn't put more equipment in there because at the moment it's overcrowded. There's so many people in there all the time. So I would just I would have the equipment more spread out. Maybe look at some, because the squash courts are hardly ever used. Like the on Monday nights they're used, but that's it. Like apart from that, they're not really used. So I would probably maybe try to get some equipment put in there.
Yeah, no, the thing that I'd quite like to see in the Rob Law actually is probably some more like unique kind of sports classy things. Like, I know it sounds really bad, but like aerobics and stuff like that has always been really cool. And I'd love if students could get involved and like start things like that. And I think Rob Law could really benefit from it. More people being inclined to go.
4 more questions left. So Stephen is our next question.
So you both concluded having a bigger and better sport. So how are you consider funding things now? So considering the fact that difficulty the students use fit and without pricing people out at the same time?
I think that it was a really good idea what the societies officer, I think it was saying about getting other people who are just in other societies involved, because obviously that would be like a lot more money from lots of people. So maybe like a wider group of people would be a good way to get some extra
And
funding.
also probably like external sponsorship and funding. If we like contacted the other companies, we might be able to ask them to fund us. And if we had more tickets, we'd have more money.
Yeah, like this year the sports ball was so good, and the tickets were like £25 for early birds, £30 later on, and they did so much with that money. So we would just try and make people aware of it earlier. So like right from the beginning of the year, have it known that there's going to be a sports ball, because then I think more tickets would be sold. We could get more than 100 people there, and just end up being able to do much more with the money.
It's hard to contact people directly as sports officers. It's probably best going through the captains and then through the teams, because you got to listen to your captain. If everyone's going to sports ball, that's the decision making.
Now 2 from Kat.
Hello guys. So first one, you both mentioned how you wanted to support new clubs or smaller clubs. So that's quite a fair few clubs we have at George's. I wondered how you were going to ensure fair distribution of our facilities between all those sports clubs.
So we're interested in thinking about like some other options for facilities. So for example, like Burntwood School next to Halls would be interested in maybe contacting them and seeing about possibly using some of their facilities. There are a lot of places around here where we could make use of. So yeah, we'd be interested in finding that would put a bit less pressure on the resources we have here.
Yeah, also for some sports, you don't actually need a specific ground. You could go to Garrett Green, just close up for Halls. If you wanted that, set out on pitch with the currency playing ultimate frisbee, just as a start, just as a starter off, just like you're not going to form a new team, be top of the league straight away, are you? You're going to have to start school and grow up.
Yeah, that was a good idea. I like those ideas. Probably get in contact with like the Tooting Leisure Centre, because obviously that's the facility, but I'm kind of copying what you said, so that's better.
Yeah, so for us, I think it was more about promotion of smaller clubs, because like you said, we do have a lot of things that a lot of people don't realise we have. So like it'd be nice to have new sports clubs, but right now I think it'd be really good if we can work on the ones we already have and really give them the time, the resources they need to grow. So definitely like a lot of clubs don't really like use Rob Law and stuff like that. So I think rotating them in would be quite, well, not easy, but it would be.
There is a lot of space in the Rob Law on the nights.
Cool. Kat, next question.
My second question, sorry guys, we're getting to the end. So a common complaint from members of some clubs is that, we're part of this club and that other club gets more budget from the SU than us. How will you ensure fair distribution of the budgets to all the clubs equally?
I think this is like one of the main things that we'd like thought about, particularly with resources and money and stuff. So obviously bigger clubs will get more money and will get more resources, but I think we really have to like put some sort of system in place where smaller clubs get what they need, as opposed to just getting the leftovers from after like all the big clubs have got what they want. I think this is just really about just reorganising like budgets and things, and just like sitting with captains and going, do you really need this? Is it necessary for you to have this and this year, or could you wait till next year? Maybe we can give that funding to like a smaller club like fencing or basketball, so that they can get new stuff. So I think that's just about sitting down and just like working through the numbers and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's key is good communication with the captains and just honest conversation with them about what they actually need and what they don't need, and
as opposed to what they want.
Yeah, as opposed to what they want, what's actually a necessity.
Yeah, as I say, it's just the understanding of doing that, and also say the sports teams they probably do need it, but they finance it themselves, like within the club. If it was a bigger club, they probably have more money from the members being part of it and may afford it themselves if it's something smaller, and then that would have brought more money as well.
Yeah, we'd like to go through the details with all of the clubs of the money they're getting in, the money they're putting out, try and figure out if each of the clubs are being efficient themselves. Yeah, so.
Cool. Our last question comes from Twitter.
As you may know, SUL doesn't have its own sports ground, though it did in the past. How would you investigate this?
Yeah, it'd be good to look back in the history of that because I didn't actually know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got much of an understanding of that. I know about Imperial have like a ground and they pay it every so season, and then that would be their ground. Like even though it's not near the Georges, there's like a short distance transport-wise, but I think that'd be a great idea because that's like the communal place where, again, for publicity, if you want to support, they would know, oh, I'm just going to go here where there's going to be a football match or a rugby match or both on at the same time.
Yeah, I think we'd have to speak to teams and see like if that's what they wanted to do, because obviously it's got to come through like the captains if they've got to want it to have like that communal
Yeah,
ground.
because like a community sports ground, it might be really good for some teams, but it might not really benefit all teams. And I feel like investing a lot of money into like a community sports ground when it's not going to help a lot of teams will probably be a bit of a waste. But,
Depends what the captains what they want and stuff. We'd
really
probably have to have just like a meeting with the captains and ask them like how they feel about that.
Lovely. Thank you very much, guys. Okay. So, we have charities officers next. So we have Geisha and Nicholas and Avin, Khadija, Bethany and Kate. So if we can get Yugisha and Nicholas first, if they're here. They're not coming. Okay, fair enough. So it's just you doing it. So yeah. This is so we're on level in terms of letters, and that corresponds to this there. I'm just going down this in terms of this here. You guys don't have a presentation, do you? Okay, so get started when you want.
Hiya, I'm Kate. I'm a first year medic.
My name's Keisha. I'm a first year biomed.
I'm Bethany. I'm also a first year biomed.
And I'm Anthony. I'm a first year biomed as well.
We think it's really important to keep the traditional RAG events that students will be anticipating and throw in a couple of curveballs that hopefully will catch their attention, as well as keeping into careful consideration the budget of the student union.
So we've heard from people in previous years that RAG was huge here, and we know that from this year, from our experience as freshers, that RAG, we only kind of knew about what it was until around the RAG week and the Gold Disco. We want to change that. We want to make sure from the onset that it's known, that people know it's there, that freshers know it's there. We want to have bucketeering to be a huge thing. We want to make sure that freshers coming in know that we're here and that we're raising and giving, which is the whole point of us. We want to work closely with the president and other SOCs. I know the events, or was it sports, in their presentation they said they wanted to communicate with us and get charities involved. I think that's something that we want to do as well. We want to make sure that we've got communication with everyone. We want to basically resurrect RAG, essentially. We want to have a presidents from Freshers Week to the end of the year. We want to consistently be there. So again, just always being there, communication with all the other SOCs. We know that lots of societies are always raising and giving. If we could get communication with them to try and make sure that we're there and we're channeling through with them, then that's perfect. And we want to pump RAG with as much caffeine as Georgia's students are drinking at the moment to get them through exams.
Okay, as
as well, obviously raising giving is going to be our main priority, but we also really want to represent students. So one of our ideas this year was to let the students vote for 2 of the charities that we're raising money for. Hopefully that will like raise more awareness, but also make people feel more involved with us and with RAG. And as well as the sports officer said about working with them, one of our ideas was to organise a sports day at some point during the year. So obviously all the sports teams can get involved with that.
So ultimately, our main sort of motive being RAG officers is to increase the number of events that we have for RAG week and throughout the year. So from speaking to old years, we knew that there were 2 weeks of RAG, and we definitely do want to do this again. Some of our teams, Khadija and Bethany, were also in the RAG subcommittee this year. So we've got that sort of experience, and all 4 of us were in senior leadership roles at our school as well. So we've got that experience, and we want to get the input from you as well, so that we create a really exciting new RAG week for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So Ange has arrived. We'll give her a minute to get her breath. So she'll be chairing after this one. And we'll start off with, yeah, so what's your name? Cola, that's it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask them, so times apart from RAG week or the RAG 2 weeks, how do they plan on raising money for those charities?
Are you happy to ask that?
Yep.
Yep. Let's move to Derva.
What new events are they going to organise that haven't been done already?
Happy to ask that? Corey?
So they mentioned the word communication a lot. What ideas or new ideas do you have to form these communication links?
Happy to ask that? Yeah. Hi, what's, sorry.
How is it that you hope to raise more money for charities?
Are you happy to ask that? Michael?
What responsibilities do you envisage having on Exec other than those directly related to RAG?
Okay, Georgina?
Considering the year-on-year decline in the success of RAG, do you think it's designed to is it working?
Are you happy to ask that? Yeah. Stephen?
So
Okay.
firstly, how do you intend on resurrecting RAG, as you said, from the onset?
It's similar to Georgina's, really.
Georgina, all right, I've got one.
Do you want me to provide it and I'll tell you?
Go on.
Okay, good.
And why do you want to make RAG back to a format as a sport down to 1 because it wasn't working in the first place?
Cool. You happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Mark?
Which societies would you intend on involving in RAG and how?
Happy to ask that? Chris?
It's a bit like Georgina's, but it was why do you think the popularity of RAG has declined over the past few years, and what do you intend to do about it?
You happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Good. Tash?
So 1 from Twitter and 2 that I've sent in to me. So Twitter is, in what ways do you plan on increasing the RAG total this year? I don't know if that's written up. Or what ways do you
It
plan
kind of overlaps with lots of other ones, so we can probably ignore that
So
one.
the ones sent in are they aware of the fundraising that goes on outside of what the RAG what RAG does?
Aware of fundraising.
2, how are they as a committee going to ensure that there is more transparency between RAG and other fundraising projects around Georgia, so it doesn't feel like there's a competition between RAG versus student fundraising. So they're all working towards the same cause.
RAG versus students. Okay. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have one as well. 10, 11. Maybe 2 more. Let's do Alice, 'cause she hasn't asked one yet.
What do you know about the RAG room system or rules, and how would you change them if you feel it needs changing?
You have to ask that? And then Faith, because she hasn't asked one yet.
I was going to say, do you think that it's worth increasing the raising element as opposed to the giving, because people have less and less money? Maybe things like volunteering. Do you have any fresh ideas as to what people could do to contribute?
You happy to ask that?
Yes.
Good. Okay, we'll stick with those ones. Sorry, Ruth. I think that's plenty then.
love them. Oh, what a joyful.
Okay, so our first question comes from Kula. Guys,
Hey guys, I wanted to ask you, how do you plan on raising money for the charities, sort of outside of those 2 RAG leagues that you have?
So as I previously mentioned, we want to make RAG throughout the year. So this includes cake sales, bucketeering. We want to make sure it's there throughout the year and not just 2 weeks. So as Khadija mentioned as well, we want to be like our presence. We want our presence to be there from Freshers Fair throughout the year, and that's the main point that we'll be pushing forward in order to make sure that RAG is represented and charity week make a lot of money for charity as well.
And also, we know that the ideas come from you guys, so we want our communication to be up to like high points with you guys, because that's where all the ideas come from. So we've got your ideas, and we'll implement them, and we'll just back and forth.
Also, we had an idea for like selling refreshments before shows, like Tooting Show and Diwali Show. Like we could sell popcorn and stuff like that, and raffle tickets maybe too. And bucketeering there as well, sort of as people leave.
thank you. Our next question comes from Della.
Hi guys. What new events are you thinking to organise which haven't been done before?
Okay, so we've got the sports day, which, as far as we're aware, hasn't been done before. And also, we want to try and do an event in every semester, like at the end.
We know that we had ideas. Kate had an idea about making themed events, so like an American themed disco or similar to a gold disco. Just getting everyone involved. One of our ideas, we're not sure if we can do it, but it's an idea, is having like a movie night or a film night where people pay to get in and have fun and enjoy and watch a cool film. Just things like that. And obviously, again, like, we'll be getting ideas from you guys, so that's what we're here for.
Our next question comes from Corey.
So you mentioned the word communication a lot. What new ideas do you have to form these communication links?
So we want to make sure we've got good relationships with everyone. So we want to email. We know that sometimes Facebook and Twitter can't be the best or ultimate. We don't want to get everyone like in everyone's faces either. So like constantly, we want a meeting on Monday. We want a meeting there, here. I think email, whatever works best for people. We want to make good relationships. Just let people know who we are. Posters, and just talking to you guys and just making sure from the onset you know that we're here.
Our next question comes from Zook.
I just wanted to know, so how is it that you hope to raise more money for charities?
Okay, so obviously more events throughout the year, bucketeering.
And I think also, as we mentioned, making our presence known is also going to be a large factor, because I wasn't really hugely aware of RAG until RAG Week. And I think we mentioned that as well. We really want to publicise our presence from the start and to get involved in as many events as we possibly can.
And we know that like most of the societies that are run, most of their money goes to charity anyway. Home Ed, Hindu Sog, like all of them sports, they donate a lot of money. So if we can get them channeling through us, then we can get it coming through us kind of just alongside. It's another way.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Michael.
Hi. What responsibilities do you envisage having on Exec other than those directly related to RAG?
So, I'm going to go back to the sports guys. They were talking about collaborating with us. I'm sure a lot of the events, sports, I think we're going to be there to try and get people involved, and so that they know that if they've got support from the charity officers, I think that's something that will come into play. So this is just outside of the 2 weeks of the week of the RAG week and outside of Freshers Fair.
So what I'm trying to get at with the question is more, are you aware, because RAG is a tough job, are you aware of the other responsibilities, just exec responsibilities that every officer will have?
So obviously attending meetings, and then I believe like on patrol event nights as well.
But like we were on RAG subcommittee, so we've got a bit of an idea. We've got the support from the previous years who were doing charities officers. So even if we don't, we're going to get there.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Georgina.
Hi guys. Considering the year-on-year decline in the interest and success of RAG, do you think it's something that is actually worth trying to resurrect? And if you do think that, then how are you planning on doing that?
Definitely. Like I was head student at my old school, and my job was overseeing the running of a RAG week, which was huge. So I have experience of knowing sort of how to get people interested in it, and like picking themes that are accessible for everyone. Obviously raising more awareness, bucketeering everywhere so everyone knows about it. So yeah.
Like we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't think it was worth resurrecting RAG. We do.
Our next question comes from Stephen.
So, why do you want to bring RAG back to a fortnight? You brought down
fine. So basically what we want to do is make it a massive thing within the university, make sure the students are interested in it, make sure the students have an amazing time at that week. And I think it's just making it bigger that we want to make it a fortnight. And also with making it a fortnight, we can raise a lot more money for charities, which is basically our main interest.
Our next question comes from Mark.
Which societies would you focus on involving RAG and how?
So obviously the sports societies, as we already mentioned, through the sports officers, obviously they could be in contact with the captains and get them involved. Maybe other societies that like Khadija mentioned.
Like Home Ed, I mean, I only know because of the experience that I've got with the ones that I've been in, but I know Home Ed is one that like they solely go to raising money and helping the homeless. Trying to think, I mean, we'll find out.
And also getting involved with the shows as well, and RAG having a presence there as well.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Chris.
Hi. Have you thought about why the popularity of RAG has declined over the past few years? Because that could help you resurrect it.
I think mainly it is because of the lack of presence, especially during the first few weeks of freshers. I myself didn't know about RAG till right the week, as Kate said. So I think one of our main motives is to be there at the very beginning, make sure the students know about RAG, make sure the students know about the events that RAG will be putting forward throughout the year. And I think that will sort of help RAG to gain popularity and so that students can come to events as well.
We have 2 questions that have been sent in.
So, are you aware of the fundraising that goes on outside of what RAG does?
So like other societies obviously do fundraising.
Yeah, I'm aware that there are charities which students do run, like Monique mentioned her charity, and I'm aware of some of my friends in older years who have set up charities, like they tried to do a sports day and things like that. So it'd be worthwhile getting in touch with them and pursuing that even further.
And the second one is, how are you as a committee going to ensure there is more transparency between RAG and other fundraising projects around Georgia, so it doesn't feel like competition between RAG versus students fundraising when you're all working towards the same goal?
I think we completely want to try and abolish that because that's not what it is at all. We're there to raise and give alongside other societies. So the aim is if we can try and build that like relationship. I don't know. I know I've been saying communication a lot, but if we can try and befriend societies and show them that actually if you're channeling through us, you're just helping us get the money through. It's still going to go to the charity that they want, and it's not a competition at all. If we can show people that by just talking to the presidents of each society and communicating with you guys, the top 4 and whoever else is involved, I'm sure we can get that sorted and abolish that idea that that's the case.
Thank you. We've got 2 more questions left, so not much longer. First one's from Alice.
Hi. I was just going to ask, what do you know about the RAG room? So like the rules of the current system, and how would you change it if you feel it needs changing?
I'm only aware about the RAG room because I'm part of Pole and we keep the polls in there. Other than that, I don't really have much idea about it.
Yeah, so like I don't actually know what it is. Which, sorry for like, completely ruining that, but we're going to look to like our older years and to the top 4 and anybody else that we can communicate with to get guidance on that. And I think that's going to be our main aim at the moment. And as a 4, we work really well together. We communicate well. And in terms of the transparency questions that we had, we just want to make sure that we're all there and talking and getting as much guidance and advice as we can.
And our final question comes from Faith.
Hello, great presentation. I was just going to ask, as soon as people have less money and there's less giving going on, do you think that there should be more of a raising element? And do you have any ideas of how you could like change that raising element and add to it with ideas other than volunteering?
Do you mean raise as in?
I mean like opportunities for people to volunteer as opposed to giving money.
So I think this is where like coming into play with working alongside Marrow and stuff like that. I think that could be a good place for us to get our niche in, because obviously you give your time, you can give your blood, your bone marrow. There's so many things you can give apart from your money, and obviously we're all students, so we know that. And again, I think that just comes from talking to other SOCs and getting to know what's there and letting freshers know that and talking to our peers and getting that across. I think that will come with our time and experience that we're going to develop.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. I will now hand over to Ange. Just as a quick reminder, as well as all of our lovely candidates that we have presenting tonight, there is also a candidate who runs in every election. That's RON, which stands for Reopen Nominations. So if you aren't happy with any of the candidates, then you can vote to reopen the nominations in the future. So don't think these are your only options. And here is Ange.
Hi guys, sorry I'm late. I was at a very riveting ophthalmology lecture. Right. Okay, so we've got our CPOs next. So that's Deva and Annika. Hi guys. About 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Ready? Yeah, 3 minutes. Go.
Good evening, I'm Annika. And I'm Deva. And we're running to be your community projects officers next year. Between us, we are passionate about volunteering. We take part in a variety of volunteering activities inside and outside of uni, such as Marrow, Team London, mentoring teenagers, and working with domestic violence victims and more. And so we recognise the vast opportunities that we have at George's. Being an events officer, our previous experience demonstrates that we can work as a team with effective time management, and we hope that we can make a difference this year.
To make all these opportunities known to the students, advertising plays a key role. We want to set up a new forum on the website. This will be publicised for everyone to see, but only the committees of the community projects will be able to post on it. The aim of it is essentially to have all the events of all the community projects onto one page, so students can volunteer for more than one community project. We hope that it will make it more efficient to contact us as well as the student body. We'll also be keeping in touch with media officers regularly to put community projects updates onto the newsletter, make more use of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other forms of advertisement.
We want to be able to continuously recognise the achievements of our volunteers, and so we want to introduce a Volunteer of the Month scheme where community projects will nominate a volunteer and we'll display this on the second floor or maybe the homepage on the website. If elected, we'll be registering as an organisation with V Inspired, which is a national youth volunteering website. They have an awards scheme which we can apply for, and we'd reward our volunteers for their efforts with a bronze, silver or gold award. Hopefully this will attract more volunteers.
We hope that by being the face of St George's Students' Union on a national website, we can broaden our contacts with external organisations such as Team London, Medicine, St George's Hospital Charity and other organisations. This will improve all the volunteering opportunities that we have available at George's. We'll also keep in regular contact with them.
One of the main events we have to organise is Community Projects Evening and Freshers Week. Learning from the past, we've realised that the speech is usually overrun, so we plan to make it more organised and abide by a strict 7-minute time limit. We'll be inviting external organisations to come and speak, perhaps have a quiz and food with prizes on offer in the middle, and we'll have a community project store at Freshers Fair so we can advertise the event and maximise the attendance.
One of our manifesto points was to be a good, effective link between the community projects and the SU. One of the ways it will be that we will notify all the projects when hefty funding will begin and advise them throughout it. We'll also meet with the vice presidents to discuss the applications, and we'll also be there after to answer any queries regarding it.
Other duties include helping societies officers with awards evening, helping with RAG week, charity week, managing the store cupboard and other exec duties.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, questions? Yes, Corey.
I've got two.
Yeah.
How are you remaining partial towards the for community projects, especially as you have to help allocate hefty funding? And how do you feel you can represent our SU at the Wandsworth Policing Consultative Committee?
Are you happy to ask them? Are you happy to ask them? Yeah. Okay, next. Yes.
How did they time their presentation so well?
I don't think. I think that's partly luck, but I don't think that's an actual question. Alice.
Do you think the current definition of the community project officer role is up to date and correct? And have you thought about changing it or improving it?
Are you happy to ask that? Any other questions? Yes, Haroon.
How are you going to decide the volunteer of the month?
Okay. Are you happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
Isn't that direct? I know there's only one.
Oh yes, that's true.
Can't you be implementing some of your some of your new ideas? So it's talking about implementing for the next year.
When rewarding CPs, how would you remain impartial?
We've already kind of asked that in terms of hefty
So I
funding.
just mentioned it in my question.
How would you word it?
So how would I so how you remain impartial towards community projects, especially as you have to help allocate hefty funding and
You can't say volunteer of the month. So and in
volunteer awards.
no, and in implementing your new and in implementing your manifesto points or something. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay. So Haroon, Corey's asking you a question. Yeah, it's he's merging it. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions? Anything from Twitter? No? Cool. No. Okay. Okay, so your first question comes from Corey.
So, good presentation, by the way. How you remain impartial towards community projects, especially as you have to help allocate hefty funding and also in implementing certain points in your manifesto.
So we have to have a meeting with VP Welfare and Finance, so to sort of review all the applications, see if like they're overestimating or underestimating, because we're going to be so involved with community projects anyway, so we can tell if they're overestimating or underestimating, and plus the VPs will have an impartial view as well, so it will be like a joint opinion.
Okay. Yeah. And the other one from Corey?
How do you feel you can represent our SU at the Wandsworth Policing Consultative Committee?
Well, since April 2014, it no longer exists, and it is the Wandsworth Safer Neighbourhood Board. So it doesn't really technically apply to community project role anymore.
So we plan to take it out of the constitution at the next exec meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Alice?
Similar. Do you think the CPO role as it currently stands is appropriate? Have you thought about changing it, and how else would you change it?
Well, I've looked into organising a medicine global health conference, which is huge. Like all the medical schools come down, and it'll be really good publicity for us. But seeing as I've just seen it quite late, we probably will put this in place for the next year's CPOs to organise. All they need is a group of 10 and sponsorships and everything.
I think the role is very appropriate for it to expand into any direction any community project officers can choose to. So you can involve as many external organisations as you wish and get as many volunteering opportunities as you can.
Perfect. Okay, that's all your questions. Thank you, guys. So next we've got our environment and ethics officers. So Hannah Jones.
Ready?
Do you want to click? Wait, click this one.
Okay, so hi, I'm Greta. I'm Greta and this is Hannah, and we're running for your Environment and Ethics officers this year. We feel like we'd be pretty awesome for this post, if we do say so ourselves, because not only do we work well together, we also have impressive experience in project leading and teamwork, and we're also very enthusiastic and dedicated to tackling ethical and environmental issues at George's. Our predecessors did do a pretty good job at tending to various problems. However, we have thought of our own ideas to make the George's Dragon green.
We want to introduce a campaign which will cut printing. We'll be making people aware of how wasteful printing can be and find ways in which we can reduce this by introducing the use of recycled paper and printers and notebooks offered in the SU shop. Having more recycled paper bins near printers and making as many paper documents electronic without affecting student learning, such as agenda packs and Senate, which we will enjoy collaborating with next year's GenSec over.
Those moving out of halls and housing when they finish university have a lot of extra pots and pans, which many leave behind or throw away. So we would like to collect all of them. People will donate, obviously, and also those that are left behind and are unclaimed at Lost and Found. And we would like to set up a Freshers-free foundry at the Freshers Fair. And we would give these pots and pans away to those who need it, especially international students, because they're not allowed to, well, not allowed, but it's difficult to bring heavy pots and pans over here. And also spare ones will be YMCA and charity shops.
As you all may know or not, the George's allotment isn't the most popular area in the university. We want to make the allotment a more used area in George's by tending to it regularly and hosting regular allotment days where we invite as many people as possible, including students, staff, and people from outside the uni.
Our previous E&E officers did do the Fair Trade Great British Bake Off, and we would like to incorporate this in our Ethics Week. And we would like to obviously collaborate with BakeSock and hopefully raise awareness of fair trade produce and encourage the student shop to also offer some fair trade produce, not only chocolates.
Companies with positive ethical agendas are something which is very important to us, and we wish to inform students of said companies by placing information in freshers packs. We will also contact the companies to get offers and encouraging students to use these companies. These will be handed out in Ethics Week.
And we also wish to collaborate with other societies to deliver ethics and morality discussions and talks and open debates with students on various ethical and moral topics, obviously, and promote inquisitive attitude amongst students to raise awareness of ethical issues and help them to be addressed. We also want to introduce a food for thought scheme where we will be posting ethical dilemmas on notice boards and media to create and encourage discussion.
Lastly, we wish to congratulate the current E&E officers in all their hard work they've done this year, especially for achieving the nationally accredited Bronze NUS Green Impact Award and for a successful Go Green Week, where we'll be following the footsteps and hopefully repeating as just as successful as theirs was. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Anyone got any questions? Yes, Kat.
Okay. So as the term is elegantly put, it is very hard to get people to come to allotment days. How do they intend to promote allotment days and increase attendance?
Are you happy to ask that?
Yes, I also have a second question. That's okay.
Yes.
They mentioned campaigns that they would do as E&E officers. What are their plans for Go Green Week next year?
Are you happy to ask that?
Indeed.
Okay.
Sorry.
Stephen?
You've got some presence of E&E throughout the year. There only tends to be really 1 week, and nobody knows who they are.
Okay. Are you happy to ask that? So can you tweak it a little bit so it's less bitchy? Mark?
Where is the allotment and why do I not already have it?
That's not really relevant to them. Sorry. Chris?
How effective do you think Go Green Week is on promoting the environment and ethical standards?
Are you happy to ask that?
Yes.
Cool. Yep.
Do you have any plans for improving the environmental quality of the local community as well, or is it just the university?
Okay, are you happy to ask that?
Yeah.
Okay, Georgina?
What are their thoughts on the environmental policy?
Are you happy to ask that? Corey?
How do you plan on funding the manifesto points? I can't say recycling bins. will manifest.
Are you happy to ask that? Deva?
In current SBRs and tutorials, there's sometimes only up to 2 sentences on one piece of paper, and it's a waste of resources. What do you plan to do about it?
Are you happy to ask that? Perfect. Reese? I don't know.
What sort of events are you planning on running during your week to attract more participants?
Are you happy to ask that? And Mustafa?
Yeah. This may sound a little bit harsh, but they obviously have a lot of ideas. But how will they deal with what may come as some of the failures from this?
Okay, are you happy to ask that? Anyone else got any other questions? No, anything from Twitter? Nick? So you've got 1 minute per question. Your first question comes from Kat.
Hello, my enemies. Right, question number 1. As you so elegantly put, it's very difficult to get people to come to allotment days. I can't imagine why.
So I like to be honest, it was such a fun day.
How are you going to increase promotion and attendance of the allotment?
So we certainly will be, in similar ways in which you did, posting via Facebook and setting up a Twitter account over Twitter, and really trying to get it out there for both students and staff. We also wish to contact those outside of the public. We feel that the allotment is a great area and space for children to use, and I have many contacts with a children's group outside of the university who would be willing to bring their children's group along to a little gardening day and raise awareness there. And we'll also contact other societies within the university, such as Spectrum, because the children who attend the Spectrum days there will also, I find it a very fun day.
Yeah.
There's a lot left.
And also, if we do encourage, if we want to encourage people by telling them that the produce will go back to George's and we will be eating the produce. It's not like just we're not just leave them there to like rot and become compost.
We'll
that would be cool too.
10 seconds. Cool.
That's it. Yeah.
Stephen?
Oh, I had to.
Oh, sorry, Kat again.
No, it's fine.
Question number 2. You mentioned campaigns that you'd like to do as ENE officers. Please could you tell me your plans for the Green Week next year?
Yes. Go Green Week. Yes. So once again, we were very proud of what you two did, and we feel that if there's something to good plan, then you may as well kind of stick to it. So the smoothie bites was such a very successful thing, which everyone loves doing. Anything for a smoothie, and also the my brain's literally just gone.
The snap it off.
The snap it off campaign. Thank you.
We're going to take photos of people who leave the lights on.
Not people of the
lights.
lights.
Of the lights. We don't know who it is. And we'll just like post them on social media.
And the process is a campaign which will then post this on a website, which then will get sorted. And anyone who doesn't know about it, Google Snap It Off, and you'll find the website for it. It's through NUS.
It's really interesting.
Perfect. Thank you. Stephen?
How do you show presence throughout the year of the ENE as it tends to be paired for 1 week?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Because I'm not
So
here.
you word that again. How can you ensure presence throughout the year, as in the past, ENE only really appears for Go Green Week?
Well, I guess with our ethics discussions, and our food for thought campaigns, we would like to post at least once a week some kind of discussion, some kind of moral dilemma, and get people involved. Also, through our Facebook pages, we want to keep that pretty active without bombarding people and making them really annoyed. Even though ethics and environment is really important. So, yeah.
Okay. Chris?
How effective do you feel Go Green Week is at promoting caring for the environment and ethical standards at Georgia?
Shall I take us?
Yeah.
I feel it's very important because when you're just thinking about life generally, you're not going to be thinking about much. But then when suddenly you have a week that slams in your face, you go, oh yeah, we live on this earth and we're not going to. It's not going to last much longer. So I feel like it's a very important week because without it, there's not much else really around the uni which makes you suddenly go, oh yeah, we should probably be switching off those lights or switching off those taps
or double-sided printing.
Perfect. Zook?
I was going to ask, do you have any plans to kind of improve the environment of the local community, or is it just the university?
No, we don't. But I think we would like to start small with our allotment. I don't know if you've seen, you probably haven't, but it's not great. It's good, not great. So maybe we'd like focus on that a little bit. And if people are really interested, I guess we would take their opinions and advice and probably branch out definitely too.
And set it up for future years to be able to branch out as well.
Okay. Georgina?
Hi girls. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the environmental policies.
We did base a lot of our manifesto on the environmental policy. We do agree with a lot of the things there, and we would try and implement a lot of the things. It's pretty simple stuff, pretty easy stuff to remember, like turning off taps and turning off lights, and trying to double print and recycle and use recycled paper. So yeah, we're cool with it at the moment.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
There's no like killing birds on it or anything.
Perfect. Corey?
So how do you plan on finding funding for some of the things on your manifesto?
Wonder what things. What things?
Well,
Bikes, maybe. The biking thing.
Yes.
Maybe.
Oh, sorry, what specific you're talking
Yeah.
about. I mean, generally, we would, I guess, the same way as anything else, fundraise.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, so we would have the Great British Bake Off. I'm not entirely sure how this was specifically run, whether it was charged, but I'm sure like buying cakes. But everyone wants a cake, so and things like that, and generally trying to make things as free as possible.
Yeah.
As well by using contacts that we have.
Okay. Corey, you've got another question? No? Okay, Deva. Sorry. Deva?
In current SPLs and tutorials, so sometimes only like two sentences on one piece of paper, and that's a huge waste of resources you would leave every week. What do you plan to do about this?
So this comes under the whole mindful printing campaign, and we just want to make, by sending emails out to tutors and to staff and to students, to be like, these are two sentences.
Yeah.
Do you really need this to be on paper, or can this be electronic, or can this just be said and remembered?
But we are stressing not to like compromise your studies. I mean, some people do prefer paper, and we would hope to, implement recycled paper maybe onto the printer.
Okay. And Ruth?
Hiya. How do you plan on getting people to your events? As some people think that environmental ethics are boring.
Who are they?
Yeah, how dare they?
Again, as we said earlier, it's just a lot of advertising and making it seem and look really fun.
It is fun. They are
Making
fun.
sure they know that it is fun and exciting, and we really hope that we can do that. And I'm sure you guys have been laughing at us for the last 5 minutes, so we can share laughing with us for the last 5 minutes. So clearly, you guys are enjoying what we're saying.
30 seconds.
Without you guys knowing, you know that what we're saying about the environment and ethics is important and true, and hopefully with that fact we can make things fun. Hopefully you guys can realise that.
Perfect. Mr.
Hey, you guys have a lot of great ideas that you can implement, but how will you deal with some of the failures that might come from them?
We will grow.
I mean grow.
Yes. How will we deal? We would, I guess, we just review on where and how we did fail, and give advice to other people. Maybe even like if we do review what we've done wrong, we could try and rebrand it, or like make it
rehabilitate it.
Rehab.
Yeah.
Make it better, and try it again.
Particularly for next year as well, for the future union officers. Like if something went wrong, be like, this is how we did it wrong, and just really.
30 seconds. Perfect. Thank you. That's your final question. Thank you, guys. So we're moving on to our equality and diversity officers. I've got Theo and Sard. Mic down, guys. Guys, quiet. Okay, and go.
Hi guys, I'm Saad.
I'm Theo.
And we are running for the Equality and Diversity Officers for 2015. And we just made this short PowerPoint presentation going over our manifesto. So the first part is that we will ensure that the no platform policy for St. George's University is upheld. This means basically no discrimination or prejudice shown at shows. And obviously you don't want people to, of course, feel, discriminated based on age, gender, sexual orientation, and stuff like that during auditions and such.
Okay, one of the new ideas we've had is to start a Facebook group for the Equality and Diversity